start. Welcome to the Sustainability Partnerships January Blues Buster webinar. So we haven't been online since 2025, and this is our first webinar this year. Normally we'd start off with something quite heavy hitting. We would look at the priorities for the NHS for sustainability for the year ahead. But this year we felt that we wanted to just give something back to the workforce within the NHS. If you come to a lot of our webinars, if you read our content, if you engage with us as an initiative, you'll think that a lot of the stuff that we talk about is about ecological sustainability and that we are sustainability partnerships. And yes, the vast majority of our conversations are about introducing sustainable alternatives into the NHS supply chain. But we also need to think about sustainability in a more holistic way. We need to think about how we can allow for a more sustainable approach to the way that the people within the NHS work and their daily lives. And that's just as important in terms of sustainability and what we can do for future-proofing the NHS, because the people who work there are really the driving force behind whether or not, it's a great service for everyone. So going a little bit left wing of our usual ecological sustainable narrative, what we've done today in our January Blues Buster, and like I said before, it's a very grey January day. It's worked out exactly how we expected it would be. It's a little bit grey, it's a little bit cold and a little bit depressing. We've got two super exciting apps that I'm really excited that came on today to talk to you about, that will hopefully give a little bit of a boost, a well-earned boost to our community and anyone else from the NHS, giving a little bit back and giving you a little bit more of what you deserve. Like I say, please use the webinar chat function. Thanks to Tina and Marie. Great to see you guys. Yeah, it's very wet, grey, cloudy everywhere. Good. I'm glad that we're here to bring the energy. I know that both of our speakers will as well. If you want to chat amongst each other, please do use that chat function as usual. We then also have a separate Q&A function. If you've got any questions for either of our speakers, please put it in the Q&A section separately, so I'm then able to pose those questions to our speakers in the Q&A session after both of the presentations are done. Brand new faces to sustainability partnerships. We've got George Fairhall and James Murphy. I'm going to start with George. She's going to give us a bit of an introduction to herself and the journey around WAC, and then James is going to come on and give an introduction to what they do at FIBO as well. So George, I'm going to pass over to you. Please give us an intro as to who you are and what you've got to brighten up the lives of our community here at Sustainability Partnerships.
Thanks so much, Georgia, and thank you for inviting us here to speak with everyone, to tell everyone more about WAC and what we do and how we want to help the workforce and the community around the NHS. So my name is Georgina. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called WAC, and I founded an app to help variable income workers. So anything from shift workers to gig workers, self-employed workers. It could be a side hustle, or you could just have a full-time job or multiple part-time. And we help you keep track of your hours and your earnings and organize your life and make sure you're getting paid properly. So the reason I founded this app was because I used to be one of those workers myself. I used to work multiple jobs. I did agency jobs. I worked in bars, restaurants for many years, and I was consistently underpaid. I found it really, really hard to keep track of my hours, and I wouldn't know what to expect on payday. And I was desperately trying to keep track of it on paper or like the notes app on my phone. And it just became really, really difficult, really stressful. And when I would look around me, I'd see that there was everybody I worked with in every job experiencing the same issue. And then the deeper I kind of like looked into it, I realized it was pretty much every industry where there are these types of workers, such as hospitality or the NHS. So we're about 5 years on, and we've got around 500,000 installs now across the UK, and we are now expanding into other countries, which is amazing because we are wanting to solve that problem for as many people as possible. So it's really exciting that we can be on this call today and show you more about the app and hopefully change your life, which it does for many other people that we have sending us messages and reviews and telling us about what they're having to experience in a day-to-day life and how WAC can change that for them. So I'm going to dive in a little bit and tell you a bit more. And I'm very keen to get questions and feedback from you guys. So yes, just bear with me 1 second. Sorry, we started on the end here. Okay, so I think really it's best to start with our mission because it's very simple, and that is to give every variable income worker one place to track their work and manage their earnings and feel confident that they are getting paid right. I was underpaid constantly. Every single payday, I would look at my pay slip and wonder if it was correct. I knew I'd worked overtime. I knew I'd missed breaks. I knew that some things were amiss. Sorry, but I didn't have anywhere to go, anywhere to ask for support. I didn't know how to approach it with my employer. And really, I'd end up just shrugging my shoulders and normalizing the fact that myself and others were being underpaid on payday. So I went on a mission to try and change that. So why is that? We know that is because there is individuals who work varying hours or have multiple incomes and have no single place to personally manage their earnings. And we feel that employer systems are failing and workers are just left to struggle. And it is millions of workers across the UK. There's around 15 to 20 million variable income workers. And we are absolutely desperate to show whack off and hopefully help as many people as possible. So there's some scary figures around the NHS. We know that around 45% of hourly paid workers are being underpaid each payday. That's from our own survey that we have done. But looking more specifically into the NHS, you can see some scary numbers like 58% of NHS staff report working unpaid every single week. 41% of staff report being unwell due to work stress. And there is very, very little support out there right now, including organisations like ACAS or Citizen Advice. It's really difficult to even give them a call and just explain something that's very big to you, but what can feel very small to them, such as being underpaid by a small amount or missing breaks consistently. So we feel that we understand why this is happening. It would be great if you guys can share your thoughts around why these numbers are so high. It'd be really interesting to feel why you think that is because of. So for us, from the data and the feedback we've had so far, we know that it's mostly down to failing systems. So I know within the NHS there's varying different systems of tracking hours and recording them and paper-based systems, some digital systems, and there's nothing consistent. There is now a breakdown of trust, and a lot of individuals just feel like there's no one to trust and that their pay slips aren't correct. And it's an awful feeling to have every single payday. And then we do know that working these chaotic shift patterns with things changing very often, breaks are missed, overtime's missed, hours are missed, and things like rate changes aren't counted for. And that's where we've started to get understanding and have built a system around trying to help with those different complexities. Along with chaotic schedules, it can be very, very stressful already in the types of jobs that you're working. You're working extremely hard, like crazy hours, in many cases, not on a huge wage. And we want to be able to help as much as possible and improve those conditions. And as I said, there isn't much support at all. So we are becoming that support network. So we're very open for you to message us on WhatsApp. There's lots of different things that can support further just beyond the tool itself on the app. And we understand it and we get it. And we want to show that in the work that we do. So I'm just going to show you now a little bit of a demo so you can see what it would be like if you signed up today. So you can sign up here as an NHS worker and you can put in whatever job that you have, and then you can put what type of job that it is, whether it's full-time or part-time. And you can add here also what type of payday that you have. So any type of payday we cover, and then you can add your wage in there as well. Once you've added that, you can basically add on any shifts. So you can multi-add shifts, you can add holidays, sick days, bulk import. And right now I'm adding here a shift that I did yesterday. You can add in your breaks. So that was a 30-minute unpaid break. You can add in rate changes. So you can put from X time to X time. It was, say, double wage. So we can make sure that all different types of rate changes are accounted for. There's also an automated overtime feature where you can put that, you can add those rules and it will apply it for you. Once you add those shifts, you can also save them to the system so you can use them again, which you saw that I just did there, and it will add it to the calendar for you to be able to keep track of all those hours. You can also multi-add different shifts. So say that you have a month schedule or 2 weeks worth of shifts that have come up, you can bulk add all of them really quickly and really easily. And you just pop in the start time and end time and any breaks, and then you just tap on the screen there and you can see all of those shifts adding to your future schedule. You can also do this for worked shifts, but this feature is great for adding in like your rota, and you can make sure that it's already in your app so that you can keep track of any changes and have it to hand. So it slowly adds here. You'll see it adding. So in February, you can now see the list, and then you go back to January. They've all started to add there, and you'll have that calendar with you all times to be able to access. And also, if you tap into it, you can then see exactly what that shift is about, and you can update it or edit it or do whatever you like to it. You can also see that worked shift in there that we did that's in the past. So this is your menu here. You can add multiple jobs. You can also add fixed incomes now, which is a new feature. So if you've got side hustle or Vinted or a lodger or anything like that, you can keep all of your earnings together in one place, which is difficult to do now. You can also share your calendar to your Google or Apple Calendar, or even to friends and family. And you can also share an invoice. You can generate an invoice here for any work you do, or a job report at the end of the month if you say wanted to share it with your employer. There's also a live payslip estimate here where you can basically compare it to your payslip every payday. We will automatically generate it for you. So it'll be your gross pay and your net pay, depending on what you've tracked. You just need to pop in a few details here at the start. And then we can make sure that we work it out as accurately as possible based on what you've entered. And then you can also add different deductions, anything that you would find on your payslip, to make sure that we are following exactly what your employer's following. So that's an added feature on top of just the kind of simple hours tracking and earnings. You can also track in real time. So say one of your scheduled shifts comes up, you can then whack in, and you can then have this running whilst you're at your shift, and you can add breaks, or you can pause it, you can do whatever you like, and then you can whack out at the end of the shift. It will come up with a similar overview where you can add different rate changes or extra earnings, and then that will actually link up to the schedule that you've created, and you'll be able to see your shift there. And you can see on those totals, you have your total for your scheduled work and your total for your worked past work. This is also another feature where you can track your bills between different paydays. So you just pop in a few details and you can see where they fall. We also have a new marketplace full of loads of discounts and access to different services where you can get discounts on like high street brands, access to different things, and another section where you can get help with disputing your pay. You can look up your employee rights. You can record documents, so whether it's from certificates to pay slips, and keep everything together. So we're trying to offer as much support as possible outside the simple tracking itself. Lastly, there is actually now a way you can even earn money through our app, because we want to just get people to see our app as much as possible. There's also a little TikTok section here where you can post a TikTok and earn £100 for every 100 views that you get, just by sharing it with your friends and getting as many people to download WAC as possible. So that's a very quick walkthrough. There's lots more to offer beyond that. We have a free version of the app. We always want this to be completely accessible. So you can sign up for free and use it and track your hours and do many other things each day. Outside of that, the premium plan is £2.99 a month or £24.99. But I would love for anybody watching this webinar, if once you've signed up, just head into your profile and contact us and just let us know that you have watched this webinar. And we're very happy to offer a free trial to you or a discount so that you can give the premium version a go as well. We would absolutely love your feedback. So, yes, as many people as we can for that, that would be great. I won't go through all of this, but basically, people are obsessed already. We've got a 4.8 rating on the App Store, and we've got, I think, over 6,000 reviews now. So take a look at those and see how it's helping other people. I mean, you can see here just from some of these reviews, like I said, it is genuinely changing some people's lives that have lived, from paycheck to paycheck each month, and are also getting underpaid and have been able to use WAC to support them and help them recognize underpayments, and also just in general help them feel more organized and in control. We do love a bit of TikTok. So if you do too, then please follow us on TikTok. It's at Download Whack. We'd love for you to also send in any questions that you've got around the app. Also, anything you think may be missing, please just start thinking about those and feel free to send them in just in the little message. I think George is going to do a Q&A at the end, and we'd love to hear from you. So lastly, we want to give you a simple, accessible tool that helps you feel more in control and confident that you are getting paid right. And then obviously we've got ways of disputing it if not. As I said, we'd love your feedback. We are still in startup mode. And so we really, really, really like our users getting in contact with us on WhatsApp, and we are very reactive to our feedback and have built WAC to help all different types of workers based on that feedback. So if it is missing something, we really can implement it quite quickly if that's what's going to help you as an NHS worker. So please give it a go and let us know.
Thanks, George. You really brought the sunshine. I knew that you would. To bring the energy. That's what we're here for. I think that one of George's team has actually posted a link here to a feedback form. So if there's anything that you guys want to feedback there as well, you're able to do that. George, I love how you're trying to make whack a verb. You whack it in, whack it out. It's great to see that as well.
Yeah.
Again, if there's any comments, any questions, put them in the Q&A function. I'd love to know if anyone has got any of those side hustles that George talked about as well. And also, I think that the live payslip piece is so important because it feels like a bit of a minefield. A payslip is quite a in-depth financial document that you receive every month that not everyone actually knows what every single part of that even means or has ever had it explained to them. And it's kind of like, oh, this is all these things and these deductions. You don't really know what it's for. But having that live tracker can just be absolutely integral to, your household cash flow and understanding of that. So that's great. So we will come to Q&A after. There's another Georgina on as well, so she's happy to. There's three Georges, all three of us are happy to be in this
Love it.
chat this morning. James, I'm going to pass over to you. Can you give us a bit of an intro as to what you do, and then start with your presentation, please?
Sure. Yep. So I've got a bit of a cold, so sorry if I'm a bit croaky. But thank you very much for having me. I'm James. I'm one of the founders of Fiberdoo, and Fiberdoo is the tech behind the Everything app. I'll actually just get straight into my presentation. So I'm trying to share my screen. Okay. Can everyone? Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Everyone should be able to see my screen. Cool. Okay, great. Yeah, so the Everything app is completely free for NHS staff and their families. We are rolling it out to other public services, but it started with the NHS. It was originally something called Doing Our Bit, which started in COVID by a woman called Julie Davis who wanted to give back something to her staff for working so hard by basically giving free workouts. That then sort of evolved. It's been launched for a while, but the technology has taken quite a while to build. So at the moment, it is an on-demand video library for focusing on health and well-being. over the next year, we're going to bring on much more content from professional development, help with HR, high performance coaching. We've got change management. We've got loads of things in the pipeline, but at the moment, it's focused on things like yoga and fitness, and mainly to improve health and well-being. But it's called the Everything app because hopefully it is going to be everything. Um, Obviously, this is a stat that you've seen before. The goal for this app is to try and improve the health and well-being of the NHS and also the communities, because many hospitals and many facilities run by the NHS are anchor institutions within their community. And if you can improve the health and well-being of NHS staff, it will have a knock-on effect to the local community. Also for their financial health as well, which I'll get onto in a bit. And obviously, it can help reduce sick days, which will save 2.4 billion according to research. Um, so the Everything app is it's completely free. We also do this for corporate clients. So we work with companies like Jaguar Land Rover, Sodexo, Toyota. They have this product, but they pay for it. And what we're going to try and do is we want to try and build on the on demand and the live streaming and build in-person activities. And that is where our focus is going to be for this year. And the story behind that is Fiberdoo is actually a booking app. So what Fiberdoo provides services for, well, provides the technology for service providers, be it dog walkers, hairdressers, personal trainers, yoga teachers, golf pros, anything that sells their service, you can run that business through Fiberdoo. And then what these businesses do is they're then able to share their spare capacity. So, for example, if you have a yoga class at 3 o'clock on a Friday and it's half full, you can share that into your local NHS, whether it be doctor surgery, hospital, care home, and the staff will be able to access it for free or at a heavily discounted rate. So some activities will be free, some will be discounted. Um, Okay, so obviously this isn't it's not a golden bullet. It's not going to solve everything, but we just like to think of it as an add-on to what people are already doing for their employee engagement to improve their company culture. And like I said, it's completely free, so you can just download the app, sign up with your NHS trust, and then you can get access to all the on-demand and live streaming that'll be coming up this year. We've got stuff. So, like I said, it started mainly with exercise. That's where doing our bit started. We've now got mental health advice. So we've got life coaches, mental health coaches. They do on-demand sessions as well as their live streaming, which will be coming on this very shortly. And like I said earlier, there's going to be much more content from a wide range of things that can help with professional development, high performance, change management, and much more. So we're aiming to have 100 sessions per month by the end of March, and that will be like on anything: stress and burnout, nutrition, mental health, women's health, men's health, and much more. And then the exciting bit, like I touched on earlier, is going to be the in-person activities. So the Everything app is part of a bigger ecosystem where we want to build these localized marketplaces for people in the community to sell their services to local people. So it could be dog walking, cleaning your gutters, personal training. It could be professional services, kids' activities. It could be anything and everything. We just want to create this marketplace, and the NHS is a big part of that. And the Everything app is going to be the first, is actually the first one of that. And the difference with the Everything app is if, for example, you had your local the actual app is going to be called Find Book Do. That's for the general public, but the Everything app will offer discounts that the main app won't do. So that's why it's good to do it through the NHS. So yeah, it's a really simple app. I'll share a link so you can download it. Like I said, it's completely free on Apple and Android. Um, Really easy to get set up, and you can start watching videos straight away. It's free to access. Like I've said, I think I might have mentioned that before. It's We will hopefully be using the data to bring on more activities that people want. Everything is verified. So the difference is, so obviously one of the questions I get, well, why can't I just go on YouTube? Well, on YouTube, there's nothing that's verified. Anyone could post anything, and it could be telling you how to do an exercise that actually could damage your back or something like that. With this, everything is verified by industry professionals, no matter what it is. It's all going to be completely safe to use. especially for so we've got kids activities coming on board that are run by qualified teachers. We have noticed that when people participate together, so that you can create your groups, participation can increase by 80%. So what we encourage people to do is try and get someone that's going to run it within your organization. We call them energizers, but you don't have to. You can call them anything you want. But someone that's going to try and promote the benefits of using the app, promote the benefits of joining in the group exercise sessions, and and giving feedback, and then we try and get on more activities that people want to participate in. And then finally, I think it's my second last slide. The impact that this can have on local communities is huge. Most of the providers that will be coming onto the platform are they're independent. So when you shop with independent providers, you basically keep money going back and forward within that community. When you shop with Amazon or Tesco's, that pound that you spend is lost from your local community and it goes into shareholders' pockets essentially. But when you basically spend with a local shop or a local service provider, you're circulating that pound back within your community, and that pound will get spent in the local community, and it can mean that it's worth about 5 times as much if as opposed to spending it in a in an organization like I've got nothing against Tesco's or Amazon, by the way, but it's just it's just the difference in the effect that it has on the actual local community where you're spending your money. It's something called the LM7 multiplier, if anyone wants to look it up. And finally, I just wanted to, I know that we're here about sustainability, so I just thought, I actually talk quite a lot about climate change, but obviously I'm not talking about that today, but I just thought we do align with many of the SDG goals. Yeah, I just thought this would be the ending, because I thought it ties it back to what everyone's here for. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, James. I really appreciate that. And I think that it's quite strange that not everyone within the NHS even knows that this is there for them to use. So it's great to have platforms like this to be able to share that insight and make sure that it's in everyone's hands, quite literally. So we don't have any questions, but luckily I have questions for both of you, and I don't think you'd be able to get away with it that easy. George, I'm going to come to you first with some questions that I've put down. Now, you've put a note here around anyone who's actually working within NHS trusts on things like systems, operations, payroll, and things like that. And I think that what we want to impress with what George went through with the WAC app is that it doesn't need to be these two siloed things working against each other, where you've got the workforce and then the operations team. They shouldn't be opposing forces. They should be absolutely working with each other for a better outcome. And what James touched upon, things like sick days, fewer sick days because of stress. It's always going to be working as a more holistic view for the NHS to be working more sustainably in each way. So I think that obviously you've mentioned there you do want to be working with people on the inside of operations as well. And I wondered, are you aware of any of the systems that are being used in any of the NHS trusts? If there's like plans for integration from the WAC app into any of the systems that are currently in use, or if that's something that you're still looking to learn more about.
Yeah, definitely. So as I said, my background was really mostly from hospitality and probably retail, because I did a bit in your agency jobs in your supermarkets and things like that. Done all sorts of jobs, but not NHS jobs. So I did like found this business because of that. So seeing the amount of workers that we have coming in from the NHS, which is thousands now, it's been incredible to see that it's also being able to offer help to those industries as well. So I mean, that's happened over time, but now we are really starting to look into how we can look at both sides really, but always keeping the worker-led approach, at the forefront, because we can obviously work with employers, we can work with the NHS, we can work with organizations from the top down, but that's not what I intended to do. I wanted to make sure that we learn from individuals themselves, because the systems that are out there right now are failing. So yeah, our plans really are to kind of, with that worker-led approach, start speaking to organizations like the NHS, so that we can work better with them. Because obviously from their side, they hopefully, and in many cases, in all cases, really care about workers' well-being and making sure they're getting paid properly, and they want that. So why would they not work with us, to be able to see the data that we've got and what we're doing to improve that day-to-day life for individuals that are within the NHS? So we're really up for just having conversations and learning. From what we understand, it's very chaotic system still. It's different across the whole country, which I think we all know the NHS does work in that way. And it's even to how hours are tracked and processed through payroll and stuff. So yeah, we're really up for learning from any person. But obviously the way that we can have the biggest impact and be able to support the most is by speaking to individuals that maybe are in an NHS trust or ops, or in HR, and we can have those conversations.
Yeah, I think that you're right. In general, when we've spoken to anyone, it's the sort of disparate systems that make things difficult to have any kind of consistency. Um, but I think that the fact that you hadn't necessarily thought about the NHS as a market when you developed the app, but you have naturally attracted so many members of staff at the NHS, it's testament to the need, the requirement that people have. You wouldn't have people coming to you in droves to sign up for this app if there wasn't a need. And it's something that obviously you guys have learned in your journey, and you're now thinking, well, obviously we would love to have you on board and we want to help a little bit more. James, I wanted to just move on to you really quickly about, you mentioned that the Everything app is for NHS workers and their families. Are you able to go into that a little bit more detail? Because obviously you mentioned you have to sign in with your NHS email address. So is it that people just use the same app, or
So what you can do, so everyone can download the app, and then you create your group as your family group. So if you're working for the NHS, you can create your group, and then other people in your family can access it. So like I said, we're bringing on kids activities, which obviously kids don't work for the NHS, so we needed to figure out a way to do that. So yeah, basically you create your family group, and then your family can access the content that you allow them to.
yeah, and you've put your link in there to the Everything app as well. Just for anyone who's rewatching this webinar afterwards, is there anywhere that people can give you guys feedback on things that they need?
There will be. So we can basically we were meant to launch last year officially. Then that got delayed quite a bit. So we're officially launching Fiberdo, which is obviously the sort of delivery partner behind it, is officially launching on the 29th of January. So the in-person activities aren't on the app yet. So the app at the moment is a free video library, essentially. It's going to have live streaming. That's not that will be, I think, next month, so end of February. In person is end of March, which is definitely happening this time, because I've said that before and it didn't happen because we had issues building the technology. It's quite building a marketplace with service-based, time-based activities is quite a complicated thing to do, and there were quite a few issues with it. That has all been finalized now. We didn't want to launch in the first sort of week of January, so we decided to launch at the end of January, ready for the year ahead. I don't know whether there is feedback actually. I designed the website, so I should know, but we'll get something for feedback for sure. There is we normally do feedback in our emails as well. So, and there is feedback in the system as well. But I would need to check that that's live, but there will be. for sure.
Right. And also, obviously, there will be different needs from, people working in a massive multi-hospital trust to those working in, smaller GPs or things like that. So I'm sure there's going to hopefully be a lot of feedback that comes at the end of January. But I'm glad that we've had a bit of a preview of this before it even goes live.
And the GP thing's actually quite interesting as well because we're talking with quite a few GP practices about using this for social prescribing. So, but again, that means we need to get the activities on the system. There's a few GPs that are really interested, but it's about getting the right activities on board for the local community. So yeah, the GP is quite an interesting thing. That won't be done through the Everything app. That will be done through something else, but it's all going to be linked because the activities that NHS staff and their families can access will also be accessible to people that are social prescribing patients.
Yeah. All right, great. That's like a completely different layer to it then, if it's like for the patients as well. And I guess it's great to see like a bit of a test bed within the NHS and the workforce, and then see that that's been prescribed because it's so much more popular now. I've seen even paddleboarding, for example, be and things that are kind of quite more mindful but outdoorsy that you wouldn't really think about. But it needs to be accessible at the same time, right? Not everyone can afford a paddleboard, or not everyone knows how to
Yeah.
swim, or they've not
There's
got
actually some of the things we've actually had meetings with, I think Badminton England are going to open up a load of their courts for free for the NHS. We've had a meeting, the same with paddle. I can't remember what they're
I was going
called.
to say paddle.
We have had paddle meeting as well, and we've got a chain of swimming pools that are opening up their spaces. But the problem is, obviously, when you're looking at in-person activities, they need to be close to where people live.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is from the end of Cornwall to the top of Scotland, so it's about getting that critical mass of activities in your area. So I can't promise there's going to be activities in every area immediately. There will be certain areas that come on quicker because just of the population density of certain areas. Like I live in Cornwall, so there's not a lot of people that live in Cornwall. So there's not, and there's one hospital, I think. So it depends where you live on what activities you're going to have on the system. But the on demand will, like I said, something that I'm really looking to do. Like I've been speaking with loads of professional services providers, particularly sort of HR, employee engagement, change management, and some of them actually are NHS providers, and they're going to provide videos and live streaming sessions on a whole array of things that might help people in HR or whatever teams people work in, and that's the type of stuff that we want to try and get on more. Really, really specific stuff that is not available anywhere else.
Yeah. Um, George, I wanted to come back to you on the free versus premium. And I just wanted to know if you've obviously mentioned that anyone on this webinar and anyone within Sustainability Partnerships community, I'll just throw that out, is able to get in touch with you and maybe have a free trial of like the premium version. But would you be able to just go through maybe some of the specificities around what's on offer on the free version and then what's the added extras?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, so the free version is when you see that calendar, which I've got in my background here, you can keep track of everything on your calendar that way for basically one job. And you can put overtime, your breaks, like everything that you would need to be able to accurately keep track of your earnings. And then it would show there in the totals where you've got like the scheduled and the worked. So then with the premium, oh sorry, and also on free, you get access to like the money manager, which is like the bills tracking. That's just like a very simple overview of where it falls between paydays. You also get access to the marketplace, which has got some of those really great discounts and things on there, so you can actually save money even on the free app. And then like a few other things like the section where you can dispute your pay and save your documents and all, and employee rights, that's all counted on the free apps. There's loads of like resources, and then basically the tool at its kind of like simplest form, but still very helpful, better than writing it in your notes app or whatever else people might do now. So yeah, that's the free version. And then on the premium version, you just get like that the payslip estimate. So you get that next level of detail. It's quite a complex part of the app because we have to take all the data from different jobs and all different deductions and everything and make sure that we're trying to make it as accurate as possible, because obviously it could be used to dispute pay or anything like that. So there's quite a lot that goes into generating those pay slips, as well as obviously any users trying to keep track as accurately as possible, because ultimately that needs to be real data if you're going to use it to challenge it or you want to get an accurate total or estimate. So and then you also get extra things like being able to generate a report at the end of the month, which people often use if they maybe do see a mispayment. It's a really tidy document that shows the breakdown of all the different shifts and data, and you can send it on to your employer through our dispute section, where we even produce an email for you and help you understand how to like deal with that process, because it can be a little bit stressful. And it just kind of mentions that I think there might be an issue and here's my report. And because it's like a really detailed, like professional document, it's like definitely listened to a lot more than what would happen, you know, if you just went in and said, I don't think something's quite right. So yeah, things like that. And then being able to generate invoices, which obviously will only apply if you've got like, you know, doing some freelance or some consultancy or something somewhere on the side that you need to do that for, but you can do that. And then you get also access to further services, discounts and things in the marketplace for being a premium user. But our intention really is being able to like show we understand the graft, and that's why it is, you know, as reasonable as we could get it to be able to function as a business at 299. But really, like, we've tried to build it so that you can offset that amount. So, you know, if you do discover any underpayments, you know, it would cover the cost. If you do claim any of the discounts, again, it could cover the cost of just £3. So really, the way we like to say it is 10 minutes of work can be your insurance for the entire month, to make sure you're looking after yourself and your hours. So
Great, that's a great breakdown, thank you. And I want to ask both of you one final question. We have a little bit more time, but it's probably going to be something that's a little bit more in depth. And I'll stay with you, George. And it's something that we've learned through the last sort of 5 years of running sustainability partnerships, through developing our content, through working and collaborating with people within the NHS, that we need to make sure that everything that we develop and we put together is super accessible, and that's everything from ensuring that things in terms of colorways are accessible, fonts, things are readable. There's a lot of the lower earning members of staff within the NHS who don't necessarily have English as a first language, for example. And we need to make sure that everything is so open and it's so inclusive and accessible. And I just wanted to speak to both of you about how you have considered the accessibility, not just in terms of digital accessibility, but also in terms of the UX that you've thought through for both of your apps, and the way that you've developed your technology to make sure that really anyone can pick this up, anyone, and use it to its full potential. I'll stick with you, George, first to give us an understanding of that.
yeah, of course. I mean, it's super, super important to us. I mean, even for myself, I am dyslexic and dyspraxic. And so building an app from scratch as a neurodiverse founder has definitely meant that we've considered probably a lot more than maybe if I was neurotypical and founded an app. So that base has always been like always considering that. But obviously that's not everything. It's important to us that we're always working towards that and optimizing the app wherever we can, whenever we can. So it's still something that we're on, you know, that's ongoing on our startup journey. But in terms of the simplicity of the app, we've tried to make it as easy as possible so you can understand it from a few taps, you know, from coming in, exactly what you need to do and how you can keep track. And obviously the finances that you see are very easy to understand. We are actually introducing other languages as part of our roadmap going forward. We're actually raising investment at the moment, which enables us to be able to work towards that roadmap where we can optimize things like that. So it's kind of an ongoing process as a startup, but it's definitely something that's extremely important to us. And again, any feedback from anyone that where they feel that they've downloaded the app and something could be easier, like we love hearing about it because it's easy for us to change. So
Thanks, George. And James, can you give us a little bit of an overview of how you guys have thought through that within your design?
Yeah, sure. So I've got ADHD. I am I have a sort of particular interest in follow. Well, I have a particular difficulty in following things. And I get quite distracted quite well really easily. So it's something I care about as well. And part of the reason why because Fibre is 10 years old, just a bit, I think 12, but basically that was one of the reasons why we decided to completely rebuild the platform rather than just upgrade what we currently had. And accessibility. So I'm actually a web developer. So you learn in web development about making the right fonts, right sizes, right colors for people who are colorblind or visually impaired. So all of these things were really high up on our sort of design process. So we worked with the UX UI guys to make sure that the app is as accessible as possible. The obviously the app that people in the NHS will see is the end user app rather than the main bit of Fiberly, which is the service providers like the personal trainer or yoga studio. So what we tried to make that bit as simple as possible. And so while this isn't relevant, it hopefully makes sense. There's a lot of people that run studios or small gyms will use a lot of systems for all of their different types of stuff. And then so what we wanted to do was try and make it so Fiberly can run everything in one system. So to do that, we needed to make it really, really easy to use. So we basically did a lot of research on how to achieve that, and we use proprietary software from other providers where we don't build it. People don't know that, but so the app includes stuff from other businesses, and then we just basically try and make it work as seamlessly as possible. But for the end user, it's really, really simple. You're basically trying to find an activity that you want to do in the area where you want to do it. That's really simple. Watching on demand is as simple as opening YouTube, and it's basically the same as live streaming. So yeah, it's something that we care about. With languages, we built the system with languages so we can basically have as many languages as we want. The only thing that we didn't do was we didn't build it for Arabic because Arabic goes from right to left rather than left to right. So that's something that we didn't consider at the time, which we're now having to do that because we're launching in Italy at some point. I'm not sure when. So we've got Italian is our first language, and we are bringing on people that do videos in different languages as well.
Wow. I mean, I didn't actually prep either of you for that question. And I feel like it's so encouraging that both of you had such multifaceted answers to that, and actually a lot of passion personally behind the reason that we even consider this kind of thing. So I really find it super encouraging that within the world of technology, people are very much aware and, really, really pro consideration around accessibility as well. So since we don't have any other questions, I'm going to let everyone go 10 minutes early. So hopefully you'll have a little bit extra added to your lunch break. I just wanted to say a massive thank you to George and to James for giving your presentations today. I feel like you've definitely added some sunshine into the day, and hopefully our attendees felt the same way. And thank you everyone else for coming and adding your notes and chatting as well. Like I said, as usual, that we are going to have the video roundup on YouTube. We'll have the blog post roundup on the Sustainability Partnerships website. We're going to have both of these guys' presentations and any other resources, links, helpful tips and things that these guys can give. And I really hope that you do get in touch with both George and James to see how both of these apps might be able to bring some brightness into what everyone apparently has agreed is a very grey January day. So I'll let you guys go. Thanks so much for today. It's been really, really interesting, encouraging, and inspirational as well. So thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.